folks, I'm Billy Pennell. Thanks for joining me for another edition of one of my favourite musical moments. Now, if you were asked who are the most important musicians that created a template for rock and roll as we went on to know it, you would have to say, well, there was the big three. There was Chuck Berry, there was Bo Diddley, and there was Little Richard. Then when blues rock music became popular in the very early 1960s, who would have been the main instigators of that style of music? And you would more than likely mention Muddy Waters, Howling Wolf, John Lee Hooker, B.B. King, Freddie King, Elmore James. Then if you were asked, what about jazz music that was born in New Orleans, who was really the instigator of jazz music? You would most likely not come up with the name of a cornet player called Buddy Bolden, who was born in 1877, died in 1931, aged 54, after spending 24 years in a mental institution as a result of suffering from schizophrenia. What we do know about Buddy Bolden was that he just got musical ideas from other New Orleans music that he heard: dance band music, brass band music, spirituals, urban blues music, and he got ideas from all of that different style of music to create his own music that created a template for jazz music. What is sad about Buddy Bolden also is that there was never any recorded music of his that ever survived. So what I've done is I've found an interview with a fellow called Michael White, who is a New Orleans authority on music. He's a historian, he's a musician himself, and he'll now help to expand upon the extraordinary talent and the extraordinary influence of Buddy Bolden. Let's have a listen.
The legendary cornet player Charles Buddy Bolden is very important in the history of jazz because he is considered by many to be the very first, or at least among the first, jazz musicians and jazz band leaders. Charles Buddy Bolden played in a lot of parades and dances all over the city, and he was a legend. He was known for several things. He was known for being able to play very loud. They said on a clear night from in the Carrollton area, you could hear him all the way across the river. But at the same time, he could play so soft at dances that he could hear the feet of his children. And as he used to call the dancers, he liked to say, calling his children home. He liked to hear the feet of his dancers under the music. So he could play that soft as well. And I think the importance of Buddy Bolden is that he was at least one of the first people to realize that improvisation over standard musical structures and forms represented not only a new approach to dancing that was free and exciting and emotional, but it tied together all of the different aspects of life in America with this African legacy that exists in New Orleans, African musical legacy that exists in New Orleans in a transformed way. And Buddy Bolden was among the first to put all that together. He took things like marches and rags and popular folk songs and hymns, and he added elements that came from the black vocal style. For example, he used a lot of vibrato and bent tones. And he was also one of the first to realize that you could play a song by putting your own feeling into it, that it didn't have to be played the same way every time. You could change the way you played a melody by changing a few notes or emphasis. was very important in that sense. I think he popularized the idea of making music more exciting, more danceable, and, well, frankly, more New Orleans, by tying in all of the spirit and feeling and emotions that came from New Orleans people and putting them into music and really just kind of letting it go.